Christopher Columbus, the adventurer who opened a new world. In 1492, Columbus set sail across an ocean most people believed had no end, an ocean filled with monsters, storms, and mysteries. But was he truly the first to reach the Americas? Or was he simply the man bold enough to turn myth into history? Today, we dive into the thrilling life of Christopher Columbus. Here's the surprising truth. Columbus was not the first to set foot in the Americas. Long before his ships cut through the waves, people had already been living here for tens of thousands of years. Civilizations thrived, building cities, cultivating fields, trading, and shaping worlds of their own. And centuries before Columbus, Viking explorers like Leif Erikson had crossed the Atlantic. Around the year 1000, they reached what we now call Newfoundland, Canada. But the Vikings never made headlines. Their discovery remained a legend, scattered in sagas and whispered stories. It was Columbus, centuries later, whose daring voyage came at the perfect moment. Europe was hungry for adventure. Printing presses spread news like wildfire. Monarchs were eager for wealth and glory. And Columbus, though not the first to reach the Americas, was the one who would transform the unknown into the next great chapter of human exploration. If you think that's fascinating, wait until you hear how Columbus convinced kings and queens to fund a dream that most thought would fail. Stick with us. His original goal. When Columbus left Spain, he wasn't searching for a brand new world. His eyes were fixed firmly on Asia. For centuries, silks, spices, and treasures from the East fueled Europe's wealth. But land routes were long and dangerous, and sea routes around Africa were controlled by Portugal. Columbus had a radical idea: sail west, and you'll reach the East faster. It sounded bold, it sounded impossible. The distances were unknown, the maps were incomplete. Some feared he would vanish into an endless sea. But Columbus believed the Earth was smaller than it really is. He miscalculated by thousands of miles. And so, when he landed on new shores, he truly believed he had reached islands near Asia. Even at the end of his life, Columbus insisted he had arrived at the Indies. That's why he called the locals Indians. It wasn't a statement of politics, it was simply what he believed. Sometimes, the greatest discoveries happen when you're chasing something else. Funding and politics. Now imagine being Columbus. You have this crazy idea, but you need money, ships, and crew. He pitched his dream to Portugal. Rejected. He tried England, rejected, France, rejected. Everyone thought it was too risky. But then came Spain. Ferdinand and Isabella had just united their kingdoms, creating a powerful crown eager to expand its influence. Columbus presented his case. He promised wealth, trade, and Christian faith carried across the seas. After long negotiations, Spain agreed. Columbus would get 3 ships, not mighty warships, not luxury vessels, just modest caravels, the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa María. But in those sails carried the hopes of a kingdom and the burning determination of one man who refused to quit. His deal with Spain was clear: succeed and he would gain wealth, titles, and honor. Fail and he would be forgotten. For Columbus, this was more than funding. This was destiny. The voyages. We all remember the date, 1492. Columbus set sail from Spain, his 3 ships small against the vast Atlantic. Days turned to weeks, supplies dwindled, the ocean stretched on and on. His crew grew restless. Some feared they would fall off the edge of the earth. But Columbus pushed forward. He believed land was near. And then, in the early hours of October 12th, a lookout cried the word that changed history: land! It was a moment of wonder. In their minds, they had reached the Indies. In reality, they had stumbled upon islands of the Caribbean. But Columbus didn't stop there. He crossed the Atlantic 3 more times, making a total of 4 voyages. Each journey brought storms, shipwrecks, and hardship. On one voyage, his leadership was challenged so fiercely that he was arrested and sent back to Spain in chains. Imagine, the man who had opened a new world, now standing in shackles before the very rulers who once celebrated him. And yet, this is what made Columbus unforgettable. He wasn't just a discoverer, he was a relentless adventurer who risked everything, again and again, for the chance to explore what lay beyond the horizon. Challenges of the explorer. Every adventure carries shadows. For Columbus, the greatest challenge wasn't just the ocean. It was the unknown itself. He faced uncharted waters, violent storms, and ships that leaked and broke under the strain. He navigated without modern tools. No GPS, no engines, not even accurate maps. Every mile westward was a leap of faith. Columbus wasn't perfect. He argued with his men. He made mistakes. But what mattered was his courage to go where no map could guide him. His voyages remind us of something timeless. True adventure begins where certainty ends. And that's why his story endures. Not as a tale of perfection, but as one of unshakable daring. The modern legacy. Today, Columbus is one of the most famous names in history. His legacy is everywhere, cities, rivers, and even a holiday in his honor. But what makes his story powerful is not just where he landed, but what he proved. That the world was bigger, richer, and more connected than anyone in Europe imagined. His voyages changed maps, changed trade, and changed human imagination forever. Columbus showed that there was something beyond the horizon, that if you dared to sail far enough, you might just discover more than you ever dreamed. So how should we remember Christopher Columbus? As the man who boldly crossed an ocean when few believed it was possible. As an adventurer who reshaped the world with a single voyage. What do you think? Was Columbus a lucky sailor or the ultimate adventurer? Let us know in the comments. And if you love uncovering the hidden stories of history's great explorers, subscribe now for more obscure truths.